Good morning, everyone. Good evening, America, and welcome to the rest of the world. This is A Conversation with Kez, and I'm here today with my gorgeous co-host, Kez Wickham St. George. Before we get on and talk to our equally amazing guest, just a reminder for everyone who's listening live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, we have Payo waiting online to answer any of your questions, post links to anything that we talk about today, and generally say hi from us on our behalf. Now, if you miss any of the live shows, don't forget to jump on to the YouTube channel and like and subscribe to us, or you can jump onto Binge Networks TV USA or the Toni TV channel app on all Roku, LG and Samsung smart TVs across the world, and the links will be in the show description. This series of shows is about authors and artists, and I am co-hosting these shows with the beautiful Kez Wickham St. George, who is in her own right an international best-selling author and a driver of her own creativity. She is passionate about helping others, and in particular other authors, in getting their books to publication. And I know that our guest today has benefited from Kez's wisdom and knowledge in this area. Now, our guest today is Michele Vos Castle, and Perth has always been home to Michele. She was raised by a builder and lived in Bel Air, Cobar, Bowen, Echuca, and moving around meant that Michele experienced many different housing arrangements. She went from prestigious housing in Bel Air to a home on stilts that rocked when it moved, and a home that stood amongst the lot was the home of her auntie Nikki, where she felt completely at home and secure. While working in a furniture shop in the prestigious Subiaco area in Western Australia, her home decor was bursting with patterns, fabrics and textures. Michele wanted one just like it and aspired to the realm of interior design. She studied design profession, which led to architectural drafting. And then Michele became engrossed by the impact that design elements played within the home. She started analysing her life and the countless houses that she'd once called home, looking at the shift in life and luck while in each household. More than 20 years ago, Feng Shui was brought to Michele's attention as it rapidly gained momentum, interest in the West. Like many, she'd read about the subject, and friends had their homes healed, and her curiosity flourished. A Feng Shui consultant came to her home with pen and paper, and Michele followed her around as she instructed on colours, furniture placement, and also the assortment of symbolism within her home. Red needed to be removed from a wall. Furniture directions need to be adjusted. Jade and kumquat plants were to be placed at doors, mirrors, and pictures rehomed. Salt went in certain spots, crystals hung to redirect energy, and the list went on. The thought of a change of luck stimulated Michele's interest and desire, and it ignited in her a new venture and a great excuse to upskill. So Michele's story today is very much about her journey into Feng Shui and the book that she's just written about Feng Shui. And it is the book that she wished that she'd started with when she started her journey 20 years ago. So I'm going to start the show with one of Michele's favourite quotes. What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. And that's from Buddha. We are so powerful within our own energy, and must be mindful of what we think and manifest. Good morning, Michele. Welcome back, Kez. How are you both?
Wonderful.
Great. Thank you. Good morning.
I'm really excited to have you on the show, Michele, and I know Kez and you are good friends, so I'm going to hand over to Kez for the first question, and I've got so many of my more questions of my own as well. Over to you, Kez.
Good morning, ladies. Lovely to see you on board. Michele, my first question to you is, and I think Toni almost explained it, but the inspiration to be a Feng Shui master. I know from talking to you, it's years of study, and a lot of us think, oh, well, I've done the first quarter, I'm just going to stop and carry on with my life because, it's getting a bit much. So what inspired you even today? What inspires you to carry on?
That is always a really good question. I started to actually fix my own home and my family, my marriage. I had a beautiful home, but the energy just still didn't feel right. But I'm actually a rooster, and as my Feng Shui journey progressed, I realized how important Chinese astrology was to go hand in hand with Feng Shui. So every Chinese animal has its own attributes, and being a roosters are very determined, and they're very methodical, and they're also very detailed orientated. So Feng Shui to me, and continually learning it and progressing and growing it, was natural, because I just wanted to bring the best information and the best results I could for my own home and family, but also for all of my clients as well.
I know you, and I know that everything you just said was absolutely true. You are methodical, but you're also a creative, and I find creatives, we tend to go away and have a cup of coffee, and then we come back and think, what else can I do? We'll just add to it. But you're not like that. You're a very different creative, and I've seen this in you. I've seen that mythology. Is that the right word? Mythology? Methodology? I don't know. I've seen it. I've seen you.
Well, I did actually sit with this book for quite a while, and the pictures, all the images and pictures in this book, I've actually changed out 3 times before I was happy for it to go to print. So yes. I just wanted every image to be right with the information that I was explaining to the reader.
Yes, I agree, because I've got the book. And last night we experienced a guy that would not give the book back. So we were on another radio show, a local one in Rockingham. And he actually stole my book. I had to demand it back. And then I took Michele in for an interview. And he was like, is that my book? Is that my book? Is that my book? And I was like, oh, calm down. It's your book.
Yeah. We can't deny somebody that has such great Feng Shui interest a book.
Yes, correct. Toni, you have a question.
I have a question. Before I ask my question, though, I never realized, Michele, that Feng Shui was so integrated with the Chinese astrology. I just thought it was its own little standalone modality, and I didn't realize the connections until I started researching you and your book. And so you're an accomplished author of your instruction book, Beginner's Feng Shui. Are there opportunities within that book to learn the art of Feng Shui? And am I saying that correctly?
Okay. Feng Shui, you actually pronounce it Feng Shui. And Feng Shui actually means Feng Shui. It actually means wind and water. So wind is actually the energy, and water is the collector of the energy. So often you can see the symbolization of wind and water, and that's what Feng Shui actually means. For years, I actually called it Feng Shui myself. And being Australian, I got away with it. Yes. As the years have gone by, I've realised that I do really need to be correct and more professional. So I took on pronouncing it correctly. But Feng Shui, this is actually my first book in a series of 6 because I've studied it so much for the last 20 years as such and practiced it as well. I felt that I've got so much information and you've got to start somewhere. So beginners is the starting point. And yes, as a beginner, you will actually learn a lot from my book. It's quite westernized, so I've really simplified it. I do find with a lot of the Chinese masters and teachers around the world of Feng Shui, they really try to confuse you. And every book I picked up just confused me more. And I felt I didn't know what I was talking about, and I needed to read more and I needed to understand more, where I really think it's a practical approach to your home. And most people know whether it feels right or not. And it's very steeped in symbolization. So I think some of that needs to be removed. So it's simplified and everyday people can actually use it and understand it. Whether you believe in it or not, it's actually all around you. You're still affected by it. But Feng Shui from a beginner's point is very much on symbolization. It really goes to the basics of your environment. Also, Chinese astrology does play a large part because 33% of your luck is to do with your environment. And your environment is actually your home. So when I started Feng Shui, because I came from the interior design background and houses actually interested me, I started my journey and I was Feng Shui-ing homes, but I got to this one particular job, and had I known Chinese astrology, I would have been able to possibly give them a much better outcome. And the lady actually passed away within the home. And from a Feng Shui point of view, I could actually see the really bad energy within this home. But because I only did Feng Shui, I only consulted on the home. Now, this particular lady went against everything that I told her to do, from which way to face her bed, to which colour to paint her bedroom. So I don't know why she had me Feng Shui the home in the first place, but she did go against basically everything that I advised her, and very proudly showed me everything that I'd advised her as well. And within 6 months of having the Feng Shui done, she actually passed away. And that was a huge lesson to me, because I thought, okay, well, there's got to be more. So at that point, I then started studying Chinese astrology. So I suppose I'm a metaphysical practitioner because I do all levels of Feng Shui. A lot of Feng Shui practitioners will only do the home. They don't necessarily look at the different layers of it, and they don't necessarily look at the Chinese astrology. But the next 33% of your luck is Chinese astrology, and the remaining 34% of luck is actually free will. And that is what we call Feng Shui. That is the power and the understanding of combining both the energy of the home and the energy of the occupant to actually get a successful outcome. Does that help?
And Michele, that sorry, Kez, I've got more another question, and then I'll hand it over to Kez. So effectively, Michele, Feng Shui, if you implement the suggestions according to the practice, you can really sense an energy shift within the home. So for instance, our home, where we both work and both have offices, could really benefit from a Feng Shui consultation.
Definitely, everybody can benefit from a Feng Shui consultation, of course, because going into your home, I would actually look at both of your offices, and then I would look at both of your personal directions and the individual energy in both of those rooms. And then we may need to move some furniture, there may need to be some colour shifts. So then both those spaces would be fine-tuned for you individually. And that's really where the magic starts to happen.
Yeah, but if I were to read your book, I would get anyone reading your book will get the basics, though. Is that my understanding?
They will get the basics, yeah. They will get the basics. Of course, the book isn't fine-tuned to it individually for the reader.
Yes.
That's a little bit
generalised.
Yeah, there's 9 different directions that you could be, and you're a combination of 60 Chinese astrology animals as such. So it is actually quite layered. But the book is a really good start. It's a really good start. You have to start at the beginning. You have to understand your colours and your elements and your symbolisation and your environment. And simply by taking those things into account, then, yeah, you can definitely see a change and a difference within your environment. But of course,
awesome. Sorry, Kez.
I consult all around the world. So
I could listen to Michele all day.
I know. Same.
Yeah.
I can do a remote consultation anywhere.
Yes. So you can use Zoom, for instance, on a phone and go from room to room and go, okay, and you'll still get a good outcome.
Yes, because so much of it, so much is actually analytical. So when I usually know what I'm doing within a home before I arrive on site, because I work off plans and Chinese astrology. So Feng Shui is not actually clairvoyant in any way. It's very analytical and mathematical. Yes.
Which is well suited to your rooster personality.
Yes.
And now that you've said, we were talking, audience, just before the show about my husband, who is incidentally a computer programmer, and he's a rooster in the Chinese. And now I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Yes, yeah. Roosters will also really slog things out. So they are very particular, very, very actually hard on their spouse, because they hold themselves and their spouse and those around them at really high standards. Yeah. Hasn't been good for my husband's.
Oh, now I just... So much wisdom today. So much wisdom. Sorry, Kez, over to you.
That's all right. I know that Michele is a master, an absolute master of what she does. So completely trust her words. But I also know that Michele has not only brought out a book. Michele, please tell the audience what else you've actually created.
Well, I actually create a calendar every year, which is based on the almanac and the 1,000-year calendar. And the calendar that I produce each year will pinpoint the daily animal and the daily energy. So the calendar is amazing to have on your desk. It tells you what date to go on a hot date or what date to sign contract. When it's safe to hop on a plane, unfortunately, probably no time at the moment.
Never again.
Other than traveling, the calendar gives you a wealth of information. But I decided this year, why I had a little bit of downtime, that I would create a subscription. So I actually write a monthly subscription, which is available on the 1st of each month. And that is actually a 40-page document that I write, and it breaks down all the Chinese astrology animals and all the energy that is about per month. So it's like the calendar, but so much more, because it's personalized and you can actually indicate what is happening in the south pocket of your home or the north, or where your bedroom is or where your kitchen is. And this is great knowledge to know which rooms and areas within a home to avoid from a month to month point of view, because every month we have a particular room that has current prosperity. We may have another room that has argumentative tendencies. So if you want to win a fight, you want to sit in the current prosperity room with your back to your arguments. That puts you in a strong position, particularly against a rooster. Like this knowledge is very important.
Yeah, I'm just getting so much from this interview.
Yeah, so my subscription's really great, and it is it's a huge amount of information that people can actually apply, and it's a really good way to learn Feng Shui as well, because every month you're having all this knowledge and information, you're rereading it and you're having an understanding and taking it into different pockets and sectors of your home. And it also gives you a really great way to understand like your spouse and your children and who you work with, to who you get on really well with and who you might actually have a clash with.
Fantastic. Michele, while we're on this while we're on the subject of the subscription and the journal, how can our listeners get the subscription and how can they tap into that information?
Okay, so the subscription is actually available on the Patreon platform under Complete Feng Shui. So if you just go Patreon, Complete Feng Shui, you can actually tap in and grab the subscription from Patreon. That's really easily done. The calendar, I'm also creating a diary, which will be out in the next month. And that's actually a 1 week to the page diary. And that also gives monthly points of view and daily information as well. So I'm really excited about my diary because that's also a new project. Either of those products, you can go onto my Facebook page, my Instagram page, or my website, which is Complete Feng Shui. The Facebook page always has a lot of information. And I also on the Facebook page write articles every week. So every week you get free information on the Facebook page, which does show up on the web page as well. I love giving away
Fantastic,
information.
Michele. Fantastic. Now, in thinking about...
Michele, it's a package?
It is.
We can buy it as a package?
I can set it up as a package on the Facebook page. So if people just message me, they can private message me, then or they can email me at michele@completefengshui.com, Michele with one L, of course. Then, I can sort out a package for you where you can get them all. I think great Christmas presents.
It is.
I was just thinking it's getting close to Christmas. What a great idea. Now I'm thinking I might give myself that for Christmas. Now, Michele, as we were talking before, your instruction book, Beginner's Feng Shui, how did you go about writing that? And I know that Kez helped with this endeavour as well. So how did you go? Where did you know where to start? Or was it just a simply, I'm going to start at the beginning and go from there?
Well, I've actually now had 20 years experience of writing because for the last, with my Feng Shui journey, I obviously started consulting. And within a number of years, I then started teaching. So when I started teaching, I obviously had to create manuals and workbooks. So I teach beginners to practitioners. So I'm accredited to actually teach right up to a practitioner's level. And I also teach retreats, and the retreats are very indulgent. So through all of my notes, so I have written so much over the years, and the beginner's feng shui is a lot of the information came from like the beginner's workshops. So they're common questions. It is the basics of what people need to understand before they go on to Chinese astrology and flying stars and further levels of feng shui.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think I've had Michele come through my home and she sorted it out very fast and there wasn't too much wrong. But last night, this just shows you what a master that Michele is. We were talking about how the inside of the home can sort of reverberate into the outside. So I've just suddenly got this magic garden. Suddenly with spring, I've got birds nesting, I've got bees with a hive, I've got plants popping up I haven't seen for years. And I was talking to Michele about it, and what you said, Michele, was, what were the words you said?
I can't remember. What were the words that I said? That there'd been a lot of rain. Other than I did actually predict at the beginning of the year that October would be an extremely wet month, and everybody thought I was crazy. But I have actually been proved right. It has been a very wet month. So that's been great for your garden. But your garden, the exterior of your home has a huge impact on the interior of your home. And Kez's back garden is actually in pockets that all have positive feng shui for this year. They all have positive feng shui energy. So the directions has very favourable energy. Add some water and you've got a magic garden.
There you go. I've got a magic garden.
Got a magic garden.
Love my garden.
Kez, can you share with us some of the things that Michele changed in your home when you had your feng shui consultation?
I actually consulted with Michele about, I think it was about 3 years ago, because I was given what we call a lucky frog. And a lucky frog has a Chinese coin in its mouth. And the coin wouldn't stay in its mouth. It kept falling out. And I thought, it's got to stay there. And first of all, I rang Michele and said to her, what do I do? So is it facing the right way? So we checked it out where it was facing. And then I even blue tacked sticky tacked the coin and it still fell out. So I thought, I'm trying to see what my home is doing, what it wants. So I gave the frog away to a friend who immediately put it in the right position. I watched her do it. And the coin just stayed sitting there and never fell out. But in my house, it fell out all the time. I just about vacuumed it up every day. So
wow.
Yeah. So we were laughing, Michele and I were laughing about it last night, and it was like, well, what do you do? I actually feel that I did the right thing. I don't think the frog it's a stone frog, and I don't think it was very comfortable in my house. And when Michele still a stone frog, but when Michele walked through my house, she pointed out different things I could replace, and it wasn't like because I'm an artist, I have my own work around the house as well. So it wasn't like, oh my God, go and change this immediately. It was like, you're fairly spot on, but I did this, this, and this. And I have talked to other clients of Michele about her method of communicating. And Michelle's very gentle the way she suggests things. So it's not like get rid of that immediately and chuck it out the door. It's like it might be better if it was replaced somewhere else. And I think most people, when you own a home, that's the way, we've decorated the home with our heart and soul, unless you just throw everything in the room. And I love the way that was put across to me, like if you replace it or repurpose it. And she was very, very gentle. So I found Michele exactly what I was needing at that exact time. I didn't need someone coming in and saying, chuck that out. I needed someone to say, repurpose, replace. And that's, because it has to do with what's at your front door and what's at your back door, really, with me. That's where I was concerned.
Yeah.
I actually find most people's homes are filled with their treasures. So the question about clutter, I don't come in, I've still got cobwebs, or I need to clean up before you get there. And I'm very much like, no, you don't. Like that's your home and that is your space. And what is actually clutter to one is a treasure to another. So I think you have to be very respectful and mindful with your client. You do have to be firm though. There are times that I do have to kind of put my foot down and be firm where they need to shift or move something, but it kind of, if it can be their idea as well, it certainly helps. And generally, look, I'm really lucky. People only call me into their home if they actually want to make a shift and a change. So I'm not trying to convert people that aren't believers.
Yes.
Other than the odd husband. There's quite a few husbands that aren't believers.
Why did you say odd?
Well, not all husbands are non-believers, but now and then I get a few. But usually the easiest way to convert them is if I just start telling them their Chinese astrology. And if I can pinpoint some of their traits, all of a sudden you've got them on side. So it's just it's really understanding your client and understanding their home.
So, Michele, obviously you've got decades of skill and knowledge in Feng Shui and Chinese astrology. Do you have someone that mentors or supports you? Because you're at such a wonderfully high level of knowledge and wisdom. But do you have someone that mentors and supports you as well?
I've actually found the Feng Shui industry is actually very interesting because all practitioners very much keep to themselves. It's not a really
Yes.
supported industry. Having said that, though, I have studied under Lillian Tu for a lot of years, and Lillian Tu is actually a rooster, the same as me. There is obviously an age
Oh,
difference between us, but she has a very similar chart to what I have, which I found fascinating
mm,
when I discovered that years ago.
mm.
And I have also studied under Joey Yap as well and Raymond Lowe. So over the years, I've studied under quite a few of the main masters, and
Yes.
you do receive support there. But a lot of the journey I found initially, I had to take on myself, and that's why I find
Mm.
it really important that I share my knowledge. And I teach a lot of
Yes.
students, and with my students, I'm like, ask me a question. I remember when I was learning, one of the masters that I initially learned under here in Perth, I
Mm.
did the course, and then I said, okay, well, how do I know that I'm doing it right? How do I know that I'm giving my client the right information? Can you check my
Yeah.
notes? Can you check my charts? And she said, yes, I can, but I charge $3.50 an hour. And I was like, what? I'm not even charging my client that.
Oh,
So a lot of the information I kind of really had to garner and dig deep and
for
understand and
yourself.
teach myself, which is why it's so important to me to educate people properly on the subject at this
Yes.
point, because I don't want them to go through what I had to go through.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But no,
Kez,
I
you've got the
suppose I
next
have
question.
no major mentor other than Kez helping me with my book.
Yeah. It's not a big help.
Yes.
It's like, what do you think? And I say, it's okay. So
That's just how I like
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I know that you have seminars and you have coaching sessions, but you also have magical retreats, which I've been to a couple. And the ladies in the retreats, tell me about where you have your retreats and what they are taught at your retreats.
Okay, well, I just love teaching retreats. With all my years of teaching, I have found that I can actually get a much better result with my ladies. I'm yet to run men's retreats. At the moment, I run solely women's retreats alone. When I teach from home and they're getting to get away from me as such, in between lessons and classes, they don't tend to take it in as much. But when you take them away, so my initial retreats were in Bali, which was just amazing. And when the
Mm.
world reopens, I really hope to teach in Bali again. But the Balinese culture actually follows quite a lot of Feng Shui principles. So it's a beautiful
Mm.
location to actually explain Feng Shui to the student. But these days I teach them in Margaret River. And I take
Mm.
everybody down to this beautiful, luxurious property that is surrounded by trees and wineries. And it also sits on the edge of a dam. So the house that I teach from is a really amazing Feng Shui example. So while the ladies are on the retreat,
Ah.
they actually get to kind of live it. They get to understand a house that is actually set up placement wise really well, and environment wise really well. And other than me just teaching Feng Shui and Chinese astrology in my retreats, it's a whole journey for the client and the student. And we have art classes, we visit wineries, we have lots of conversations, and I also bring local artists and healers in as well to lighten the mood. But I find the journey is remarkable with the women. They tend to learn so much about themselves without the distraction. And often it'll be 6 women that have never met before, which is even better because there's no judgment and everybody's on their own journey. So the Chinese astrology retreat is extremely powerful for people to understand where they're going, why they've felt certain ways within their relationship or within their home, within their career. The Feng Shui is they have so many light globe moments of, oh my God, I've got that painting in my bedroom, or that mirror shouldn't be there. And they just get to soak it all in. It's just a really magical experience. They're amazing, if I say so myself.
No, I can vouch for that. Toni.
They sound amazing. I have to agree with you about Bali. I really miss Bali. There's something about the culture and the people and the spiritualness of Bali that, and normally I would have gone, 2 or 3 times in a year and haven't been back for, it feels like years. So I understand what you mean about, if you think about places like Ubud and you can feel the energy, and it would be a perfect place for a retreat that about Feng Shui. It would be just beautiful. I digress. Since you've written the book, what opportunities have arisen for you, Michele?
Well, it's actually inspired me to write more books. So now,
good,
now
excellent.
Writing, I'm like, oh wow, okay, I can create that next. So, like I said, this is the first in a series of 6, so I'm already on to my next one. And the next one that I'm hoping to have out by Christmas is actually a journal. So it's going to be a Feng Shui journal, and it's 1 page to the day. And I was going to do a tips book, but I decided I would combine my tips book with the journal. So the journal will actually be similar to the beginner's Feng Shui, but every day you get a juicy tip on something new to do around your home. So that'll be 365 tips. So at the end of your journal, at the end of a year, other than the self-growth that you will actually have by journal writing, of course, you will look at your home and your environment and your relationships really quite differently as well. But no, I'm still teaching. I'm still consulting. I'm now doing radio. So I suppose that's a bonus from my book. But no, life is still moving forward. And I think the book's a really fantastic long-term project. People can pick it up now. They can pick it up in 5 years. And I think that's amazing to think that I can help somebody in 5 years' time, even if they don't actually get to meet and talk to me.
Michele, do you think that the world is more open to Eastern culture and spiritualism and modalities like Feng Shui and Chinese? Do you think that the world's previously people couldn't talk openly about these subjects without people going, oh, that's a bit woo-woo. Whereas now I think that we can absolutely openly embrace the teachings, wisdom and knowledge that can be gained from alternate modalities such as Feng Shui. Have you seen a change over the course of your 20 years?
Yes, I have. Obviously, experience helps you grow within any industry. And when you're feng shuiing somebody's house, I like you kind of like a surgeon. Like if you're going to go to a doctor or a surgeon, you want to know that they know what they're doing and that they're actually giving you the right advice. And feng shui people can be misled and given the wrong information very easily, which can upset their relationships, their health and their wealth. So I think it's very important that you have the right grounding and understanding when you're teaching feng shui. Back in the day, no, it was harder to actually learn it and people weren't as open to it. I think I was trying to sell it a lot more than what I do these days. These days, and as times have got harder, I remember in 2019 people saying to me, oh my God, that was a hard year. Like, surely it's going to get better. And I was like, no, actually it's not. And my daughter said to me, but Mum, you're meant to be selling people hope. Like feng shui is about giving them hope that they're going to have a change and a difference. And my point of view is, yes, I am meant to be selling hope, but I also have to sell reality. And the more people have an understanding of it, and the more people are open to the changes of the energy, like be it Feng Shui, Vatsu, astrology, all of those things are, they're more relevant these days, and people are a lot more open to them these days. And the harder times are, like if you're struggling in your relationship, a lot of people straight away will go, okay, I need a tarot reading. I need my astrology done. So when people are struggling with health, relationship, or money luck, generally money and relationship luck, like they're the two top questions on Feng Shui. You get the health, but health has really come to the forefront in the last year or two, obviously. There's a lot more need for it. People are grasping at straws. They actually need more understanding. And like COVID, as an example, we knew COVID was coming back in 2019.
Yes.
It just didn't have a name. It was written about in all the texts. The energy repeats itself. So if you actually look back to even the rainfall of how much rainfall there was 60 years ago, it will actually be comparable to how much rainfall there is this year, because the energy was in the same position exactly 60 years ago. So how the world performed was similar to how the world is actually performing now. So the harder things are, the more Feng Shui is actually embraced.
So Michele, what happened 60 years ago that was equivalent to COVID?
There was disease. I did actually look at this earlier in the year, Toni. Are you calling me on something that I can't remember, but I'm sure I wrote about it.
Yes.
But the position of the power struggles, so there would have been the same types of natural disasters. The weather would have been in the same position. There was power struggles within military war around the world at that point in time. It does change, obviously, because of people power, and now we have extra travel and we have social media. So the disease that would have hit at that time, it would have been contained within the country that it actually hit, and it would have hit in southeastern countries as well. So Australia actually sits in the southeast, and it's really interesting. The southeast this year has an energy which is total loss, calamity, life-threatening energies that sits in the southeast, and it's actually doubled for this month, the month of October. So that is why we're looking at countries like Romania and the southeastern sector of Europe all of a sudden has had a major spike, the same as we've got that major spike in Melbourne and Sydney within Australia. America's actually doing quite well. America sits in the west on the world map, the same as Western Australia, and the west actually has current prosperity this year. So in certain ways, America's actually thriving, where last year not so much so. They had the energy of multiplication, so it meant whatever energy was hitting, it was actually magnified and multiplied.
Yes,
so
you could actually
if you explain it in simple people terms, then people go, oh wow, Feng Shui is great, I get it now. But if you explain it in big words, then people it goes over their head. But it does explain a lot of what is going on.
Yeah, Michele, actually, the more that you talk, the more it makes sense to me. Sometimes many people can feel the energy, but not actually put words around that. And from my perspective, I've always felt that the world needed COVID to help realign things and help shift the energy, and I actually think that it was very much needed in this time and space to slow us down, turn us inward, and cause us to reflect on our lives. And what you're saying kind of aligns with those thoughts as well. Before I hand you over to Kez again, I know that you've said that common thing, gosh, 2019 was tough, 2020 was tough, 2021's not been too much better. Is there a cycle that ends soon and lifts soon? Are we headed towards that?
Are we headed towards hope? Well, yes, we are actually. The energy, a lot of people, if you're old enough, will actually remember that there was a major shift in energy in about 2004. So we started a 20-year time period called Period 8. is why the number 8 is so popular. It's not just the infinity sign. It does actually represent current prosperity. It also represents the young man. So this is why in all our countries, all our politicians have actually always been the younger one that wins the wins the voting. If you look at all politics since 2004, it's the young man that always wins. Okay, they take it out.
Except in the US.
Except in the US, yes. Well, that kind of, that was a change. That they definitely need to shift there, didn't they? It depends on your point of view. But I sometimes have to be very politically correct. But you noticed the shift there also brought with it the first female. So she's likely to step up. Okay. So come 2024, there's a very good opportunity that you will see her as the president of America or the USA.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, so when we hit period 8 after 2004 until 2024, we're in what is called an Earth time period. Now, Earth is about grounding. It's about growth. It can be very solid and rigid, but it's actually preparing us for the next time period, which starts in 2024, and that is actually going to be
that's exciting.
9. Yeah, period 9. And period 9 is a time of fire. So you will notice in the last couple of years, particularly since about 2017, how much technology has absolutely taken off. So as we hit period 9 is a time of fire. So fire technology is a fire energy. So we'll see a lot more, like, I know we had the young girl that founded Canva. We've got more Facebook, YouTube, Zoom has really, COVID has actually caused all of this to happen and to propel us in that area. But we're being propelled towards period 9 energy, which we are starting to feel now. Now, period 9 is about hope. It's about illumination. It is said to be the second coming of Christ, of course, March of 2024, which March.
Well, that'll be interesting.
Won't it? But it's the age of Aquarius, Aquarius enlightenment. So we have had to go through COVID because really we don't learn our lessons. So there needed to be maybe a bit of a culling. That might be a little bit too strong a word. But there has to be that stabilization for us to actually regroup, regrow, and to move forward.
I agree. Absolutely agree with that. Yeah. So, Michele, I guess it's my turn to ask a question now.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. I refer to Feng Shui as a vibration. Would you agree?
Yes, it is a vibration of energy. So Feng Shui is actually the art and manipulation of furniture, energy, movement around you. So, yes, definitely a vibration.
Okay, because you can definitely feel when you do place things right in your home and you've got the outside starts to respond or vice versa, there's definitely a vibration. And I know that when I close my back door, I have felt the vibration stop. And when I open the back door, the vibration, because my back door leads straight into my garden, the vibration starts up again. And I don't know whether it's just me being, I love my different aspects of how I create vibration. I don't know whether it's just me, but I have recognized it. So if we call Feng Shui a vibration, are your thoughts included in that? Once you've done what you can to your home and the outside of it, does your thought process come into it?
It can, and it definitely will, because as soon as you have that light bulb moment, I suppose, of Feng Shui and Chinese astrology, of the energy that is within your home, then you tend to look at things actually differently than you would before, which you do with any form of knowledge. So in anything that you garner a little bit of knowledge on, you're obviously going to change your point of view of the way that you see things. But I do have clients that they've had interior designers come in and they've moved into a new home, and the husband's actually said, oh my God, when's Michele coming in? Like the feng shui hasn't been done because they've used the wrong colours or they've used the wrong elements. I've simply gone in, moved a few things around, changed colour, and it's actually changed the whole perspective in the home for that family. Colour, as we all know, has a very strong vibration. So when we look at colour through our home, all the colours actually vibrate to us. Furniture also holds memory, like water holds memory. So there's an energy and there's a vibration in everything. Secondhand furniture can often be really not good for a home, because a secondhand couch or a secondhand bed actually holds the vibration and the energy and chi of the past occupant. So you're actually bringing that into your home. So if you're going to bring in secondhand furniture, do it up, make sure you cleanse it. Like, it needs to be cleansed, it needs to be cleared. And this is why, and even the selling of a home. So people stay in a home until they've learnt their lesson. Houses pick people. People don't pick houses. We think we have all this control, but in fact we don't. A house will pick us. A house will wait for us. And you actually only move house when you're meant to, when the timing is right and you've learnt the lesson within the home. So people that go, oh, I can't sell my house, there's still a lesson. There's still actually an attachment to that house. They've still hooked their vibration and energy into the vibration of the home. So they have to understand how to let go of it as such to be able to sell their house and move on. And then often a client will pick 2 or 3 houses that have a very similar energy pattern and print, because maybe they haven't learnt the lesson or they've got a new lesson to learn. And they'll go, what about this one? And what about this one? And I go, right, well, you're actually picking the same energy. So that's your next step. That's your next lesson that you need to learn. So no, vibration's very important.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
I mean, I left a huge house, a 4-bedroom house, and there was just the 2 of us rattling around in it, and moved to a smaller cottage, which you have come to. And I love it. I just love it here. I love everything about it here. But my husband keeps saying, when we're getting on the road, and so I know there's something here. I just feel that he's still got a lesson to learn. Yeah, so it's a feeling I pick up.
I can walk into some really, really beautiful houses. I consult from all levels on suburbs, and right through to corporate and heritage listed buildings. They all have their energy. They all actually have their story. Just because you have a beautiful looking home doesn't mean it necessarily has healthy or happy people in it. So it doesn't actually come down to the size, and it doesn't come down to how many cobwebs you have and how dusty your home is. A house that has cobwebs and has dust and is quite kind of small can have a couple in it that are ecstatic happy, and they're actually happy within themselves and within their relationship, and their health is relatively good. I can go into a beautiful home that looks picture perfect and the family's actually miserable. There's the husband might be having an affair, they might be having children that are playing up, they've got power struggles, the woman's feeling lonely and dissatisfied. So just because something's beautiful doesn't mean it's actually got good feng shui.
I agree, totally agree with that. Toni.
Michele, in the last couple of minutes, 2 quick questions. One is, how do you cleanse a home or a piece of furniture? And then some quick tips on your home office and how to make it flourish. So first, cleansing, clearing, and then how to make a home office flourish in our last 3 minutes.
Okay, all right. The pressure's on. 3 minutes. The time's not really good for me. No concept of time. To cleanse furniture, the best way to cleanse furniture is actually white sage. You can grab a white sage smudge stick, and you can use that to cleanse your home, and you can use it to run it over furniture as well. It will really unsettle the energy, so you may not get a good sleep that night, but white sage will actually work. You can also, to cleanse the home, do a simple tea light ceremony. So you place small tea lights, only the 3-hour tea lights, not the 6-hour tea lights, the low burn tea lights. Place one in each room from the back of the house to the front of the house, and you line them up like dot to dot, basically. So each tea light sees another, and you then light them. You can say a prayer to the home and let go of anything that you feel the home is actually holding. That will cleanse the energy within a home. So tea light candles, space clearing. I'll actually put that up on my Facebook page today. So if anybody wants to have a look at that, and I'll also put up the subscription as well. So if anybody goes to the Facebook page. And your other question was office tips.
A few tips, yes. Make your home office flourish. Yep.
Okay, to make your home office flourish, it's actually really good to have space in front of you and your laptop. So if your laptop or computer is actually in front of a window and you are looking out, that is actually much healthier for you than you looking at a wall. Okay, so it makes you far more creative, and it's also much healthier on your eyes as well, because it gives you a greater distance. It also means that your back is not facing a window. If you've got a window behind you, it can actually cause betrayal. In an office, you always need a high back chair. You should always have a solid high back chair, so that you're not stabbed in the back, and also so that you have support. And your desk should never float. Your desk should never float. Your desk should always be butted to at least against one wall, so you don't have a floating desk. If you have a floating desk, it's like if you go to do work at the dining room table, you always feel like you're in an insecure position. So you will get up and down all the time. You won't actually work. So it is really important that your desk is stable, that it's grounded and it's fixed, and that you actually have really good support from the back of your chair. So they're the easiest tips without having to go into winning. The other thing that a lot of people look at, which it comes down to a symbolization, is the bookcase. People go, okay, well, I've got a bookcase, and does that mean I've got poison arrows? Poison arrows are coming towards me. The simplest way to fix your bookcase is actually to move all your books or all your files right to the front. So it's actually flush, and it takes away the poison arrows.
Oh, nice.
Oh, my goodness.
They're really easy tips that everybody can do in their office.
Lovely.
Michele, we are completely out of time. I could keep talking to you and Kez for the next hour. We are so delighted that you came and on the show today. Thank you for your time. Kez, as always, thank you so much. That, my friends, is our lot for this week. Please jump onto Michele's sites. They're in the conversation boxes. They will be attached to this interview wherever you're watching it. Don't forget to jump on Connect with Michele and her complete Feng Shui network on Facebook, Patreon, YouTube, and on her website. Michele, thank you so much. Kez, thank you so much for joining us today. And that is your lot for this week. We will be back next week with more of Conversation with Kez and Kez Wickham St. George. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.